Hi, I'm Becky Bates, and I'm a renegade.
Yes, she is. Yeah. That's awesome, Becky. That's fantastic. Welcome to the Renegade Podcast. Each episode, we bring you the best guests to help you become a little bit better at running, maybe a little bit better at life, or maybe just listen to a great story, maybe a disaster, maybe a triumph. We really enjoy sharing our guests with you, the Renegade listeners. You can follow us on our YouTube channel. You can find our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And you know what? We'd really appreciate subscribing to our channels, giving us a like, a heart, a kudos, a comment.
Thumbs up, anything.
Thumbs up.
Pat on the back, maybe, if you like what we're doing.
Or if you don't like what you're doing, you can email us at renegadepodcast@gmail.com as well. We'd love to hear from you. If you got some show topics, folks that you want us to interview, I don't know, maybe you yourself want to get interviewed, drop us a line. We'd be happy to maybe not respond. Hey, Renegades. On this episode of the Renegade Podcast, we're diving into the wild, untamed world of ultra running with a true force of nature, Becky Bates. Hailing from the rugged mountains of Kimberley, British Columbia, Canada, Becky didn't just stumble into this sport. She cannonballed headfirst into it at the age of 50 with no prior running background, and she's proceeded to rewrite what's possible. From her first 50-miler that left her unable to walk for weeks, to smashing age group records at the legendary Hardrock 100, Becky embodies the raw, relentless spirit of the ultra running life. An outdoor adventurer, backcountry skier, and a stunt double, Becky's journey is a masterclass in grit, community, and proving the only limits are the ones that we set for ourselves. She's not just running trails, she's blazing them. So lace up, lean in, and let's get into it with the one and only Becky Bates. We have a great episode for you. We have Becky Bates, ultra runner extraordinaire from Kimberley, BC.
Oh, Canada. Fellow Canadian on the podcast. We salute you.
And I believe this is Becky's first podcast interview. I reached out to Becky, I think it was last November. I was flying down to the New York City Marathon, and I was reading Ultra Running Magazine. We love Ultra Running Magazine. And there was an article by Ellie Greenwood talking about Becky Bates. And the article was titled, Becky Bates, a role model for all ages. And I was just enthralled. Becky is 62 years old. She's placed in the top 10 at Hardrock twice, the Javelina 100K, the Run Rabbit 100 miler. And in 2023, she broke the female 60 to 69 age group record at Hardrock by over 5 hours. And then last year, she knocked another 15 minutes off that time. She's got great energy. And when I reached out to her and talked to her on the phone in December, I could tell that she was special.
And when you're running Hardrock and you're 62, there is an athletic brew for you. What do you have today? Is that the...
Today, I have the Round of Cheers, a Brut IPA.
I have beer non-alcoholic, moins de alcohol, athletic brew. Getting to the bottom of the case, but the hazy IPA, free wave, nice specs.
Mark, this winter has seemed to go on forever and ever. It's cold. I haven't seen the sun in 3 damn days. And what I need is a nice cold Brut IPA.
You know what? That solves all life's problems right there.
As a special offer, you can save 20% on your purchase from Athletic Brewing. Use the code TODDM20. Enjoy a great brew without all the bad alcohol brings.
Hey Renegades, we have something exciting to share with you today, and it's all about revolutionizing the way we think about footwear. Enter Poluva, a brand that's setting new standards in the world of shoes. What makes Poluva unique? It's their commitment to foot health, with a design that mimics the natural movement of your feet. We're talking about shoes that give your toes the freedom to move independently, enhancing your balance and strength with every step. Plus, they blend this with style. It stands out for its zero-drop design, promoting a natural posture. Check out Poluva if you're ready to walk, run, or just stand in a way that your body will thank you for. This isn't just a shoe, it's an upgrade to your daily life. Give your feet the comfort and style they deserve with Poluva. Myself, I've been trail running in the Palooza Strand ATRs. Lightweight, flexible, they really allow your feet to feel the trails, and my feet always feel great after a trail run. We're stoked to have Palooza sponsor our podcast. And as a special offer, you can use the code RUNEGADE for 15% off your order. That's RUNEGADE, and you'll get 15% off your order. Check them out at palooza.com. Your feet will thank you.
Aha.
Hey,
Becky.
how are you?
There we go. I was thinking I was doing something stupid.
It's us. It's
No.
always us.
Half a Todd and a full Mark. Hi, Mark. I haven't ever talked to you before.
Very nice to meet you, Becky. How's everything going today for you? Still the afternoon,
Oh,
right?
good.
Still the afternoon for you?
Yeah, it's 1:30, so we're packing up. As soon as I get off the phone with you guys, we're heading to see some friends over by Mount Cook.
Okay, nice.
One of the reasons I've never done this, I'm kind of a little bit insecure about the whole thing. So I don't know.
So
I'm
are
gonna-
we.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you are not.
Join the club.
You
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
we're just faking it right now, so
Yeah, you're doing a
Just
good job of
do what
it.
we can.
You get the amazing humans in running an outdoor world on, and you guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy. And even for me, 10 years ago, like I had no idea when I started what Hardrock was or Western States or UTMB. I didn't come into running as a runner, so I didn't have lofty goals as a runner or any idea of what was out there. And somehow just fell into all of these amazing races because I did okay. I did okay, results wise. And I had enough points to get to UTMB before you needed to buy a ticket into a UTMB Ironman race. I actually wrote a letter to Hurt to get in. That wasn't that long ago. So it was a weighted lottery. So if you could convince them that they wanted you, then you had a better chance of getting in. I think even when I went into High Lonesome, you were able to get extra tickets by doing more trail work. So that was a bit more weighted. But now I think like most of those runs, I'm not 100% sure, but it's just so many people trying to get in. It's just a lottery system now for most of them.
We've seen that with the marathons, with the local races, a resurgence of runners, new runners. A lot of the folks listening to this podcast, they're new to running, or like I would say mid-pack, maybe training for their first ultras. And you see that the race numbers are just up. I ran New York City last year. There was 55,000 people. And I ran a couple years before that. Yeah, the people is just amazing. So it's good. It's good for running, but it's bad to get into these big races. I think you were being really kind about saying like an okay runner. Becky, like, you have a really great running career and you came to running late in life. That's how I read your story from Ellie Greenwood in the Ultra Running magazine. And I was reading this story and I'm like, this is really fascinating. For the Renegade listeners, you could share a little bit about the Becky Bates running journey.
The Becky Bates running journey was pretty funny. I think more people do this now, but when I turned 50, I wanted to challenge myself. I didn't want to go out drinking and dancing like everybody else does, or not everybody. I should be careful what I say. For whatever reason, I decided to do an ultra. And I didn't know any for runners, but I knew I had a friend that ran middle distance and I was really intrigued, but I didn't think I could distance because in middle distance, 800 meters and 1500 meters. And so coming from no running, I didn't think so I thought I could do slow. So I ran a race in northern Montana, Earl Elkhorn, outside of Helen. And it was awful. It was horrible.
Like every good race should be.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what running was. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't know anything about running. Nothing. It was pretty funny following people asking stupid questions. The first aid station, I got behind these, watched what they did and copied. I didn't have a clue. Anyways, it was not a pretty thing. So I didn't really want to run again after because it hurt a lot for a long time. I've done one ultra. No, I'm not a big person. I couldn't call myself an ultra runner if I only did one ultra. So I thought, well, sign up for it and see how it goes. And I still didn't know how to train, but I ran a bit more before, and it was a little bit better. And then I met a guy who was, and he did coach me, and liking running more. And that was kind of the start of the beginning of running. And now it's a real big part of me. Not all I do, but I definitely spend a lot of time running.
I can only imagine. So what has become how has running now been incorporated into, say, like your everyday life? Like what is your daily training, or is it something that's sporadic through the week, or what when you're at Sunday and you're looking towards the rest of the week, how are you planning out your week in terms of getting out there and getting some runs in?
I read what my coach tells me what to do.
That's good. And we'll make sure your coach is listening to that one, right?
Yeah. I've got a new coach, and she's actually interviewed some coaches. I still seasonally I have so winter I cross country. I don't do a lot of downhill. I do a bit. Summer I still mountain bike, and she's really good at incorporating everything. But I can. So October, November, I usually don't do a whole lot of planned running, but I still try to run. Because even if I do a lot of my running legs aren't there. I don't know if that's an age, but the running thing, or but definitely.
There was something that you mentioned in your story. You turned 50. You signed up for the Elkhorn 50-mile race. Why a 50-mile? Like, why not the local 10K, the local half marathon? You went 50 miles. We can understand catching the running bug, and I got the running bug, and I said, I'll sign up for a local 5K, and I was scared. I had no inkling of what was coming my way if my first race was a 50-miler. What gave you the confidence that you could do a 50-miler? That's maybe my question.
Well, that's funny. I had no confidence I could do a 50-miler. I think it was the speed thing. Like, I just didn't think that, like, a 10K you have to go fast, and a 5K you have to go fast, and short distance. So I think, I don't know. I have no idea. Plus, there wasn't a lot of 50-kilometer races when I was looking for something to do. So I was just looking for a race that was close to home, and there was this 52-miler. I've never done a marathon either. I don't know if I ever will do a marathon. But I don't know. It was somewhere that we could get to in a day. My husband could go mountain biking while I was out running all day. And I didn't have enough knowledge. I had zero experience. So it was just a challenge. It was pretty simple.
Do you think that looking back that maybe that was a secret sauce, that having no experience and I don't know, no naive performance? Yeah.
I think the naivety for sure, because I did the same thing with my first 100 miles. So I'd run a couple of runs and then, heard these people, and I thought they were complete wacky to do 100-mile. And I said to my coach, I just want to try one so I know if I like it or hate it. And I think I'm going to hate it. And then I don't ever have to train for one. And I went in blind. I had no idea what I was getting into. And I had a friend who was pacing me that wasn't a runner. We had a whole huge adventure. Both of us were completely out of our element. But that was, I'm tough, and that got me into Hardrock, and it changed everything for me just by taking a chance and challenging myself. So at the end of I'm tough, we went for a beer, and everybody was saying, well, you're going to put your ticket in. They were talking about Hardrock, and I had no idea what they meant by a ticket or what Hardrock was. So I put my ticket in, and I was actually driving to work one day. We live in the Kootenays, and then I work so we live in the southeast corner of British Columbia, and most of my work is in Vancouver, and I work contract. So I just got a contract, and I was driving to work, and I got a phone call from my coach at the time saying, you won the lottery. And I was thinking, well, how would you know that I won the lottery, and why would I be driving to work if I won the lottery? Like it just did not register. And then the other crazy thing about that was I had nobody that I could tell because I didn't know any runners.
Oh,
So,
so
I get into
quite
hard rock.
celebration.
I don't know any runners. I had nobody that was interested in the fact that I just got into hard rock.
Wow. Except for your coach. Your coach just
My
extremely happy
coach,
with
yeah,
that for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
And
that's
he'd already run it. It was actually a perfect guy to have coaching me at the time because I think he had already run it 2 or 3 times. So he was awesome to have on my team for sure. But yeah, I didn't know anybody else who ran at the time.
And that's important. You got to know somebody who's a runner to tell this stuff to. Because if you tell this stuff to the non-runner, they're just going to look at you like, what are you talking about? Like, you might not have known what a ticket was. The normal person in the world would.
That's nice.
Yes. Yeah. My wife Jen still doesn't understand what a marathon is. I'm like, hey, we're going to London to run the marathon. She's like, yeah, what's that about?
And was a part of you was a part of you slightly disappointed when when you said that you won the lottery and it wasn't Lotto or Lotto Max or something like that, where you're like, I can retire.
100%.
You're like, oh, you mean this means work now?
Yeah, 100%. It was like, yeah, I have to go to work and I have to start working. Yeah. I think it was when is it early December, so I had the rest of December off, and then it was onto the trails January 1st, getting ready for the first big run of my life. And of course, pressure's on when you get into that race, and I didn't really realize that until I went to a couple of races as training runs, and I would tell the other person that I was in Hardrock, and then I didn't even want to tell anybody because I felt like an imposter. I felt like I didn't deserve to get into the run on one ticket. So then I was afraid to tell anybody that I was in Hardrock. It was kind of an interesting time.
But at the same time, though, you would be getting that street cred for saying that you're, anybody that knows would know it's, tough to get in, and that you would have had to, in order to get your ticket to begin with, too, as well, to get in. Like, it's no small feat to make it to that level, right?
Maybe what you're saying there, Mark, I'm with you. Like, we know a little bit about the ultra races. So when you finish the 100-mile, as long as it's a recognized 100-mile, you get a ticket, correct, to put into the big races. But you also get more tickets if you place higher up in the races, correct?
No.
No? Okay, I didn't know that.
No. So Hardrock, you just get one ticket per year, per qualifier. Same with Western States. You get one ticket per year per qualifier. So you can do 3 qualifiers, but you only get one ticket. Then, of course, Hardrock, if you win it, you get an opportunity to run it the next year, but that's it. I think before I got into Hardrock, if you placed top 5, you got an extra ticket.
Okay.
But that's, again, there's just so many people who want in. And of course, I don't think I even realized how long it takes people to get in until my second time, or maybe even my third time. It just gets hammered into you again and again how many years it takes most people to get into Hardrock. So I definitely got lucky there. And I worked hard because I felt like an imposter. But the other thing that happened with that entry was I didn't know anybody. And when I started running, and I still volunteer a lot because I didn't know how to meet runners. I didn't know how to get into running communities. So I would go down to mostly Washington State because I'm in Vancouver and volunteer for races down there. And I was sweeping the Orcas 100, and I met my Hardrock Pacers, and they invited me into their community of friends. So it was a young girl that was there volunteering and helping one of her friends race. And I told her that I was in Hardrock, and she lost her mind. Like she was bouncing off the wall, so excited. And so then I said to her, and she goes down every year to do trail work because she wants tickets to get in. So I asked my coach what he thought. Should I ask her to be a pacer? So I did, and probably one of the best decisions of my life because that group of girls has become like they're my rocks. They're my mentors. I don't know, 20 or more years younger than me. They pretty much taught me how to run. They got me ready for Hardrock. they pulled me through Hardrock. They introduced me to more people. So yeah, Tori and Tara and the girls up in Vancouver, Squamish and Whistler are, one of the reasons that I kept running. So Hardrock wasn't just a race, but it literally built me a community, and it continues to build on my community of people.
That's amazing. And I can only imagine too how many people you've now had the opportunity to introduce your friends to, and just grow the community even further, just over the years in the runs that you're doing.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
all the time. I go to a lot of the runs by myself because I think it's kind of boring for my husband to be doing nothing. Like he's come to Hardrock twice. He didn't come last year. But when you go by yourself, I kind of make a point of trying to make friends. So I'm not there by myself. And I've got, I think, some pretty amazing people in my world right now because of running and not being afraid to put myself out there a little bit. I think when I first started running, I was really insecure. But now that I've got a few more runs behind me, I'm not afraid to talk to runners because I think I can talk running.
Yes, runners, that's one things that comes with experience with running, is being able to talk about running. That feeling of being an imposter at your first race, we all have that feeling. I think it's one of the reasons why Uncle Mark here hasn't signed up for his first running race, even though we've been trying for the last year and a bit to get him to sign up for a race.
When I turn 50, Todd, I'm going to run my first 50
There you
miler.
go. There you
go. I know somebody who could help you. And I'm with you. And then after you get that first one, you catch the bug and it starts to feel a little bit more normal, if it can ever feel normal. And like you said, you meet a great crew, you find your friends, all this great stuff. When you were going through your evolution, how long did it take? Like this Hardrock race that you were talking about, your first one, is that about 2017, 2018 timeframe?
2017, yeah.
2017. How long before you actually felt like a really solid trail runner, someone who was ready to go? Was that like a 1-year thing? Was it a few-year thing? Like, or do you even feel that yet? Like, you know what I mean? Like, help us understand that.
I totally know what you mean. My husband and I were talking about it after Tarawera last weekend. My husband's parents live in New Zealand, so we come every couple of years. And one year I signed up for a race and I didn't have the confidence to run it. And so I didn't show up. I was a DNS. And I said to him, like, now I feel like I can sign up for anything. And no matter where I'm at in my training or where my head's at, I know that I can just go out there and run. I don't have, because I've got the experience, I've got the miles. I think I'm an efficient runner. So even if I'm not trained, I can get through the distance and I don't have to be nervous or worried. So I don't know. I think maybe 6 years. It took a while. It wasn't an immediate thing. And not just, but I think maybe that's more because I never ran before I started running. So to become efficient and confident in the ability to get the job done took a bit of time. But yeah, and maybe because I'm a bit older too, that idea of, like I'm never going to win. I'm never going to get a sponsor. I can just go out there and do the best I can do, or the worst, and I'm still having fun, and I'm out running.
Absolutely.
But the confidence, it didn't come right away. Of just, signing up, getting to the start line and going. I'm not nervous at start lines anymore, which is pretty cool. I like that.
I think my heart would be just beating like crazy. My watch would go off with alerting me that my heart rate's irregular or something. So, so you mentioned before though that you never really ran before. So let's go back to childhood. What kind of sports were you into? Like, would you do cross country? Like, was it anything at all like that? So it was nothing.
Well, no, nothing. I've always been a super active person and an active kid. But I'm 5'0" and 100 pounds. And I don't know what that is in metric.
I don't know my weight in metric either. So
yeah, it's all good. That's probably 10 kilograms. I'm making it up.
I'm not big. Not big. Never have been big. And I grew up in a small town. So sports were basketball. I'm not getting picked. Volleyball. I'm not getting picked. Soccer. I just ran around in circles. I was good at that, but I don't think ever touch the ball. Baseball, no. So it was more team sports. So I wasn't really sporty. I actually played the piano as a kid.
Oh, nice.
But I was active. I could ride a horse. I could swim. I rode a bike, but I didn't do sport. And when I graduated from high school and went to university, is more when I discovered sport. So I started backcountry skiing really young. I discovered whitewater kayaking when I was young. Mountain bike. I remember buying a mountain bike back in the day when mountain bikes weren't very common and people told me it was just a fad. So sport was more individual. And then I started outdoor climbing when I was in my mid-20s. There was no such thing as indoor climbing, so mountaineering and rock climbing. And I think probably if any of them, it was mountaineering that gave me the skills to be able to run long distance, because you can't stop when you're mountaineering. You have to get home.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that. Like, so mountaineering and ultra running, you see some great linkages. My gut tells me maybe a difference would be the aid stations aren't as good mountaineering. I don't know.
No.
But what are the similarities? Is it like the planning, the pre-planning, the work that you actually have to do before you show up to do your mountaineering? Like, maybe understand, like, where do you see the similarities between the two sports?
But I've never really thought about it. But I think that you've got something there. Like you pre-plan for sure. So you have an objective and how are you going to get to that objective? And then in mountaineering, you have one more step is to turn around and get home. So even when, you're hurting out in a 100-mile run at 70 miles, you've already done 2/3 of it. So getting that last third is easier than doing 50% getting home. But for me, more than that is just knowing that, yeah, you've always got some reserves. You've always got an extra gear. It's there. It's sometimes really hard to find. But, if there's a rock fall, you're running. You're going to save your life. You need to, And then I think the reason that Hardrock has been a good race for me is that I don't have the fear of the mountains. Exposure is not an issue for me. I'm pretty solid on rock. I'm pretty solid on snow. I'm pretty solid on steep. 2 years ago, Hardrock, I think my downhill speed actually was increasing, which is kind of weird as a 60-year-old, that I'm finally getting confident downhill running. I think I was confident, I just wasn't fast. So I think that's what mountaineering has done for me, is more just knowing that there's always something left. Like you feel like you're crawling back to the hut or your car at the end of a big day in the mountains, and if you need to, you can move.
We got to talk about is our friends of the podcast, Path Projects.
Every time I see you, you're wearing something different. Path Projects. Look at that. What are you sporting today there, Todd? Toddens?
I just got a t-shirt on. They make their t-shirts out of the Tensolite T19 jersey material.
Oh yeah.
It's breathable. It's lightweight. It's soft against the skin. And you know what? It just looks great. Path Projects crafts a complete range of technical gear and apparel for running, your ultra running, your road running, your mountain running, for all modern athletes. You look great on the roads, the trails, and in everyday life.
That's right. Even in the office, you look great. Like you're ready for that next run. You just don't know when it's going to happen. But when it does, you're ready for it.
When your next run is waiting to happen, Path Projects is there for you. And for our listeners, use the code TRP10 for 10% off your order for a limited time. Absolutely.
So you mentioned your speed increase going down. Did you do anything more to enhance that in terms of training in advance, or was it just the confidence that really boosted you along there? Like, was there deliberate work that you put into increasing your speed when you're going downhill?
A little bit of downhill training. I don't do a lot because that's probably where you're going to get hurt the most. Is practicing downhill is likely not the smartest thing that you should be doing. But I have a couple of girlfriends who are amazing on the downhills, and I have one guy friend who's paced me twice at Hardrock, who is, I don't get it. The guy is like so light on his feet, he doesn't even touch the ground when he's running downhill, and so I've run with him a little bit and tried to, I always think, be like Pascal when I'm running downhill. And just, over time, again, I think having that many miles under my feet, I can get the confidence to push myself on the downhill in a race. And so I think that's one thing I want to work on again a bit more this year. I had a bit of a knee issue from skiing, and this past race, I definitely noticed that my downhills are not very happy, but I'm really holding back on my knee because it's unstable forward and back. But once it's strong enough, I'll definitely start pushing my brain as much as anything to push myself down the hill.
Absolutely. Okay, so you mentioned it. This is the Tarawera 102 kilometer. I think I read it was the T102 race. They talk about one of the most scenic, beautiful ultras in all the world. It's in New Zealand. Got two questions for you. How did you actually prepare yourself to go run this 102 kilometer race? And I envision that this is a foundation for your running Hardrock this coming year, correct?
Yeah, I'm calling it a foundation for running Hardrock this year. And you know how much snow is on the ground where you guys are right now?
Well, it depends. Where we are in Southern Ontario, we got maybe a couple inches, but if you go a couple hours north, they got a couple 3-4 feet, right? So
yeah,
it's been a long, cold winter. We were joking.
Yeah, it's been a good winter for us. So we had enough snow to ski in November this year, backcountry ski. So I've been on snow. So the hardest thing for me at Tarawera was my feet, because I hadn't had enough hard ground under them. We have a lot of good trails in our little town, and they groom them for winter biking, and so we can run on those. But you're also sinking in. You sink in like little pillows under your feet. So Tarawera was really hard on the bottoms of my feet. I was in more pain than I've been in a long time. Yeah, but it was we're down here, and Ian and I never get to go to the North Island. We've got friends on the North Island, so we used it as or I shouldn't say we, I used it as an excuse for us to go on a holiday.
Nice. So you mentioned your feet really took a beating with that last race there. Where have you found yourself in terms of exploring different footwear? Are you somebody who's been loyal to a certain brand because of just great experience over the years? Are you open to trying different types of shoes? How do you explore different footwear?
I don't have very many choices.
No? Okay.
So not only am I 5 foot tall and 100 pounds, my feet are tiny. So I've only ever really worn 2 different kinds of shoes. When I started, it was Prociw, and then they dropped their running program, and then I found Sportiva, and so I've been wearing La Sportiva since the day I was unable to buy Prociw, and haven't really tried a lot of other shoes just because the sizing. So Sportiva makes a smaller shoe, and that's what I've been wearing. So I don't think I have a lot of choice.
Interesting.
Having said that, so far I'm happy with La Sportiva. They've done me well. I've tried North Face, made a mistake of taking a pair of North Face on the last little bit of Hardrock last year, and they just don't have the grip. I was skating down some of the scree. Was not very fun.
Well, it was something that we were talking to Carl about, and there's no better time, I'd say, in the history of running that there's a selection of running shoes and trail running shoes and carbon fiber shoes and you name it. It's fun to sample all kinds of shoes, but if you got a small foot size and you can only fit in a certain brand, and I'm glad you found one that works. I've tried La Sportiva a few times. For myself, I found them like super grippy, amazing on the trail, and I found them like really rigid, like the model, I can't remember which one I tried. And I can imagine on a really rough trail where you want some traction and some strong underfooting, where they'd be key, really grip into that ground.
Yeah, they are stiff, but apparently this new shoe that they've come out with, they think that they're going to actually have some podiums with it, that more of the pros will give it a go. So they've come up with a more cushioned and softer shoe. And I totally agree. Some of them are really stiff. And that's something you haven't talked about probably. I'm going to bring it up, but as a post-menopausal woman, when I was going through menopause, one of the things that happens is your joints dry out a little bit, so you get stiffer. And I really struggled with shoes, and so I was wearing their lightest shoe. It's called Helios. So I did a 100 miler. I think I did 100K in these shoes that are basically bedroom slippers. And I wouldn't recommend it, but I couldn't wear any of their shoes because I couldn't physically get them. Like my feet were, my ankles and everything was so sore just trying to work the shoes. But I've sorted out all of those issues now, and I can wear stiff shoes again.
And how did you explore that? How did you explore? I read an article where you were sharing a little bit about, post-menopause, the challenge with your joints. We're not female runners, but we have a lot of female listeners to the Renegade podcast. Like, what were you experiencing, and how did you overcome it, other than just the shoe?
Yeah, it was a whole interesting thing for me as well, because I had some crazy races where I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. I knew that I was trained for the races, but my joints were just not working the way they were meant to work. I struggled for a couple of years. My ankle joints would feel good after about 30, 40K. So that doesn't really work unless you're racing, because you don't run 30, 40K 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And
that's a long warm up, Becky. You got to warm up way too long to get there.
Oh yeah, no, it was awful, and nobody could help me out. Like, I tried everything: physio, chiropractic, like every modality possible, acupuncture. And then nobody could figure it out. And then my younger friends again helped me more than the medical society. I think because there's this age now where women are more empowered with more information, and so my 40-year-old friends were a huge help, and a little estrogen seemed to fix all my issues. But I think every female is different. But I think it's really important to be aware that when your body changes and there's no reason for it. I wasn't injured. I wasn't sick. It just hurt and it didn't work right. So now I seem to have turned that corner. I think I'm still young enough that I could change again. I don't know. I have no idea what's coming next.
But None of us do. We don't know. And it's probably better if we don't.
Exactly. I know, sure. But it's so funny because you get these questions from people, the funny thing is I get it mostly from 40-year-old men. Is, well, when does it end? They go, I don't know when it ends, and I don't know what the next change is going to be either. Like, I don't think it has to end, but I think you have to adapt.
Yeah. And we're lucky. Like, we have some good friends of the podcast. It's really great to have a doctor who's a runner and who's been through this. So, like, we have Dr. Marco Gazella. We ask him every question you can imagine, and just the knowledge from running, from endurance, from diet to everything. It's all connected. And sometimes when you go to a family doctor, he's like, here's what I'm experiencing. And like, just don't do that. Like, that's not really the help that we need, because I am going to go do that. I need to know how to get better. It's like, oh no, you're just aging. That's arthritis, or like, that's something that's going to come with age. And then how many times do you, I don't know, talk to somebody who experienced it or battled it or did something different and what it is. So for you, it was finding some estrogen and boom, the ankles all good, no problems for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Who knows? It's such an individual thing, isn't it? Both menopause and age. Whether you're male, female, we all have a road to plow through, and we don't know what bends we're going to take and when they're going to happen. But I'm just going to keep doing what I can do until the next challenge, and I'll figure out what to do with my body.
Just one thing I love about your story, Becky, is finding running in your 50s. You weren't a runner when you were in your teens and your 20s and your 30s. So you started running in your 50s. That's where you are. That's where you found yourself. That's where you started. How did your training evolve, or did it evolve? You had to find running at your place, maybe juxtapose when you were trained for your first 100 mile versus training for your, X number of 100 miles now. What's the same? What's different? What's the secret that you learned over the 10 years of ultra running?
Man, I've never thought about that before. But when I first started running, I was working a lot more than I am now. And that might have been a bit of a savior, because I work 60 to 70 hours a week. So I only have Monday to Friday, I have an hour and a half max if I want to sleep and eat to run. So I really didn't overdo it during the week. And then weekends, depending on, I've always had a coach. So depending on what they've scheduled, and I think a coach for me was necessary And I chose a coach because I'm an older runner and an inexperienced runner. Like when I did Hardrock the first time, I didn't know the difference between a taper and a tempo. So, like, I'm not
I
kidding.
still don't.
Mark doesn't. I mean, that's
I
why I
don't, yeah,
laugh. We'll help him.
one or two.
Help me.
So as it changed, I think I probably, when I first started, I probably did run a little bit too much. Then I got a coach, knocked it back, and I'm not a huge distance runner or even time. I run by time. I don't run by distance at all. But I think having a coach has really helped me. And I actually think maybe I run a bit more now than I used to, and only because I'm more efficient. So I'm less likely to get injured because I've been running a little bit longer. And I've also, I think we talked about this when I talked to Todd on the phone, is I am trying to lift weights a bit. I'm gonna try a bit more too.
Yeah,
There's
more and
something
more.
about lifting weights. It's just, I don't know. It's just something. It's hard. I got a couple weights here. I always have this illusion of grandeur. I'm going to lift weights. I never do. I don't know why.
I know,
Yeah,
it's funny, but we need to, right? Like we all should, but how do you fit it in? But I am going to do more. And so things changing. Yeah, I never ever lifted a single weight when I was young at 55. But I've always done other sports. So I think the fact that I climb, that keeps me stretched a little bit. That would be my yoga. We also we build routes outside. That's strength training because I'm climbing ropes and carrying gear, and so that's kind of a strength building thing in the summertime. Skiing is pretty good for your legs and lungs. So I don't think I've really changed a whole lot since I started, honestly. Maybe a little bit more running, a little bit less mountain biking.
Yeah, I find the biking around here isn't the greatest because we're fairly flat. We're in a farming community here, and like many people, just after and during COVID, actually, we picked up a multi-purpose workout machine that's in our laundry room, and it's holding laundry right now, just drying on there. It's just so close. It happens to everyone, I guess, right? But we have talked to a number of people over a number of different episodes that have really mentioned how important it is to do some cross training and get some weight work in there too, as well. So for somebody like me, I've been a little bit away from running for the last little bit. Your story is getting me inspired to, when I get to 50, that I can hopefully accomplish something. Maybe not quite 50
Of course.
miles, but
We'll sign you up to a race, Mark.
but I'll work my way up there. And from other folks, it's really just ripping off the Band-Aid and just do it, like Nike. So would you have any other kind of tips and tricks to help somebody like myself to just get over this? I'm in a bit of a running rut right now, so I need to get out there. And we don't have backcountry skiing. Well, I guess I could do backcountry skiing, but it's just not.
where you should have a gravel bike, because you live in gravel bike heaven.
Yes.
We did a job in Montreal and met so many people from your part of the woods that would go down to Vermont and gravel ride, and
Okay.
and that's a great way to that's a good way to get leg speed when you start doing a little bit of work on your bike. I don't like training inside. I don't like treadmills. I don't like stationary bikes. There's enough stuff you can do outside, but gravel biking is an awesome way to get out and get your lungs working, get some fitness, and then translate that to some running.
Well, I feel that, you open your door of your home and you're in, one of the most beautiful provinces in in Canada, right? So it's just, you have the mountains and you have everything there too as well to be inspired to go out and just spend the time out there and get that fresh air too as well. So,
oh yeah,
definitely.
we are incredibly blessed by the part of the world that we live in. I can put my skis on out my back door, my bike, my running shoes. We don't have to drive anywhere. I've got a gravel bike, a mountain bike, and I think that the multi-sport thing, just to keep everything working, and then get out running. Like, running can just be so fun. Get into a new part of the world and don't have to run fast. Just have to run.
That's right.
Enjoy it.
I have one last question for you, Becky, because I know we're just coming up here on the hour. So you just finished the 102-kilometer race last weekend. What does recovery look like for you? And how are you actually recovering from a 100-kilometer race?
I didn't think I would recover from that one. My my husband said when we were trying to walk away after I'd finished, I could barely move. That race is a lot of road. So there is a section that is absolutely beautiful, but the first 54 kilometers were mostly on forestry roads and cut blocks, and I'm not a road runner at all. So my feet and calves were unbelievably sore. But Rotorua is an area of geothermal activity. So they have all these places you can have shinny dips.
Okay.
Where you just put your feet in hot water up to your knees.
Shinny dipping. That's great.
Shinny dipping. Isn't that awesome? So I had a few shinny dips and that seemed to really help my calves. So by the time we got back to the South Island, I was feeling a lot better. We went for a big hike the other day with my sister-in-law along the coastline. She lives in Christchurch, so there's some beautiful hiking. Tomorrow we'll go mountain biking. So I just do. I probably won't run. I might start running again middle of next week, or by the end of the weekend. But again, because we bring our bikes down here, so we'll go mountain biking. That'll keep the blood flowing. And hiking was awesome to keep moving. And different running shoes that when I wore on the race. Yeah, I was worried. One of the reasons I chose the 102 was thinking that like 100 kilometers takes so much less time to recover from than 100 mile. We're on a holiday and I don't want to end my holiday after a 100-mile run. But I felt way worse after that 100 kilometers than I have after most 100 milers. It's coming back fast, but I think a bicycle helps that.
Help to go back to this race for shinny dipping. I think I'd just be hanging out in the geothermal pools all day. I would never have finished this race. I'd be just like hanging out.
I'm done.
No, and the worst part, the last 6 kilometers, you come out of the redwoods forest, which is kind of crazy. So the California redwoods were planted in the early 1900s. These beautiful, huge, big trees. And then you run through town, but you run through this geothermal area with paths and wooden walkways. And on either side, there's these bubbling hot water pools. And yeah, half of your brain is just like, jump in. Maybe I'll like boil up and not have to finish. Or is there one that you can just... It was really crazy running through the boiling, bubbling. And then a friend that lives there, he thinks it's kind of odd that it's wide open and people don't jump off the walkways and scald themselves. But yeah, it's you want to go to the more commercial shinny dipping places for sure.
Go shinny dipping with friends, right? It's
that one great. No, I loved it.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I might have to go check this race out. We'll have to the Tarawera 102.
Yeah. And watch how fast runners can run crazy fast. My goal was to finish less than double the time of the winning time, if that's articulate, right? So if the winner was 7.5, I wanted to beat 15 hours. They're that fast. They are so fast.
It is some of these races. You're right. The lead pack. I've done the JFK 2 years in a row now. And I think I finished in 12 hours and 11.5 hours. I think the winning time, we had Matt Seidel. He came in third this year. I think he ran 5:27. I'm like,
yeah.
I was just getting off the Appalachian Trail at 5:27. You're done having a beer, relaxing.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
They're just light years ahead. But it's okay. I'm a mid-packer.
They're having fun.
Just having fun. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
When I first started running, I got a little bit probably too caught up in the times and whatnot. And once I found out I wasn't that good, I'm like, well, there's no worries about this. Just go run, have a great time. And that's what we do nowadays. And actually, it's
meet some good people.
Meet great people. Yeah. Like, it's one of the things that we started the podcast for. And you touched on it earlier about, finding your trail running friends. I can say that the trail runners we've had on the Renegade podcast, they are the best. They love coming on. They got great stories. They have really great stories that sometimes we don't put on the air, or we'll have them on for part 2, because there's always those great disasters that we like to hear about.
Yeah, everybody has a disaster story, but I think that when one of your first stories that you mentioned when we first came on here was with your first run, and you went with your pacer that has never ran before as well, right? So somebody that's totally inexperienced. So I can only imagine the stories that you both have together that are lifetime stories that you just share with each other
Oh, I
and
could.
just
It was
laugh.
still a podcast. That one. We started out with his headlamp not working, and me saying, "Oh,
Good
don't
start.
worry. Oh, don't worry. I'll go
We won't
behind
need
you, and
that.
we'll both see where we're going." Oh, it went on and on. No, that was the best one ever.
You only learn from experience, right? So you have to, your first one, you learn a lot. And then your 10th one, you learn more. I don't think you ever stop learning in trail running. That's what I've found out.
No, and I think, and too, you just keep it fun. So my second Hardrock, I had pacers lined up, and for various reasons, two out of three couldn't make it, and it was literally the 11th hour. One of my pacers got in at the 11th hour,
Okay.
and the other one couldn't make it because of family trouble issues. Friends of friends, people that I met at Hardrock found me two more pacers that I literally met when I picked them up. And one was 20 years old. She just really wanted to run. I had so much fun with her. And of course, Hardrock's got lots of really steep ups. And so she started asking me all these questions. And I said, "Okay, Emily, you talk on the uphill. I'll talk on the downhill." So 20-year-old pacer said to me, "Would you like to hear the love life of all of my friends?" 100%. This is going to be great.
I heard you set a world record on that section of the course.
Yeah. But like, where else would that happen if you're not open to it? And trail running, everybody out there is so fun. And then the second girl that I picked up, she might be pacing me this year. We got her to. I found somebody for her to pace last year, but again, now we're friends. I didn't know her until I met her at the aid station where she picked me up, and we had so much fun.
It's just
If you can have fun out there.
Yeah, you just open yourself up to opportunity to meet these people and you ask and spend time with them and make some friends for life, right? So
oh yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, and there's really no age in long distance trail running. I don't think, most people are as happy to talk to me as they are the 24-year-olds. It makes me feel pretty special out there to be a part of a community that opens its arms to everybody.
And what you said there is so true. There is no age to trail running. The love of the trail, the love of the outdoors. What better way to spend a weekend than out running some trails in the mountains with your friends? Every trail runner that we've had on shares that kind of message. And the folks, we may not actually be at the lead pack, but I know from the Renegade listeners and the questions that we get, they find a lot more insight from the everyday athletes, from the middle-aged athletes, the ones that are doing big things. And, Becky, you have a great, amazing running story. Where can folks find more Becky Bates? I know we'll put the show link in the show notes to the ultra running article, but where can they find you on social media?
I don't post a lot. Again, I think I'm a bit insecure. It takes me 3 days to post or 5 days after a race, but I do post a little bit on Instagram. So that's Becky B Bates and Becky Bates on Facebook. I guess that'll go to Facebook. That's all I do. I don't do Strava because again, I'm really insecure and it's funny. I think I don't want people to see what I don't do as much as what I do.
I love it.
Where I'm at right now, they go on my Strava and see that I haven't ran for like 4 months right now. So
Todd's Strava Mark's Strava might be as bad as mine.
Yeah, we'll become friends on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Becky,
For sure.
Thank you, Becky, for having the Renegade podcast be your first podcast. You're an amazing guest. This is fantastic. It's going to be a great episode.
This is great. Thank you so much.
I'm a little bit nervous, but you guys made it good. That was awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Renegade Podcast, and we'd love to hear from you. Send us a note, renegadepodcast@gmail.com. That's RUNEGADE podcast@gmail.com. And we'd appreciate the like and the subscribe. You can check out our YouTube channel, and you can follow us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And remember, in a world of runners, be a renegade.